How's it going, folks? The champ here. It's time for my Money in the Bank 2016 pay-per-view predictions. So, give me just a minute here. I've spent the last couple of hours anguishing over this, trying to figure out who I was going to go with here. I'm not even kidding. I've seriously spent the last few hours thinking about this. Money in the Bank pay-per-view, which will take place June 19th, 2016 in Las Vegas, Nevada's T-Mobile Arena, which I found out is actually, the T-Mobile Arena is actually in Paradise, Nevada. So, for the kickoff show, we've got two matches that have been announced. Those being Dolph Ziggler versus Baron Corbin, yes, again, for the third fucking pay-per-view in a row, I believe. Third pay-per-view in a row, these guys are on the pre-show. Pretty sure Corbin's winning this one. After Ziggler kicked him in the nuts that one week on Raw, I have a feeling Corbin's just going to absolutely destroy Ziggler now. Hopefully this will finally be the excuse they use to write Ziggler off for a couple of months so he can go and recover this supposed surgery that he needs to go get or recover from, or whatever the case is. That's my prediction for that one. The next match they've announced for the pre-show is Apollo Crews versus Sheamus. And I just realized I had my microphone out of place. Anyways, Apollo Crews versus Sheamus. This will be the first of 3 or 4 matches of the night where I'm going to predict that the heel is going to win by cheating his ass off. And that would be Sheamus, by the way. Sheamus has antagonized Apollo Crews, although his reason isn't really all that clear for why this is happening. It's just because Apollo Crews is part of this new era. You know, these guys coming up from NXT. Sheamus feels threatened. It's really a lame storyline. But I guess that's why it's on the pre-show and not on the actual pay-per-view. So I guess those are our first two opening matches for the pre-show. For the actual pay-per-view itself, we only have 3 title matches and 3 other matches, so 6 matches total for the actual pay-per-view, which averages out to about 2 matches per hour of the 3-hour pay-per-view slot. First match I have here written down is the big Fatal 4-Way for the tag team titles. The Vaudevillains versus The Club versus Enzo and Cass versus defending champions, The New Day. Now, as I said before, I really wish this match was being contested under elimination rules, which would make for a definitive finish, a definitive win for whoever was to win. My prediction is the New Day. I really don't think they're going to lose the titles yet. At least not in a Fatal 4-Way match like this, or a multi-team match. That just doesn't feel right. I think when the New Day actually does drop the titles, they're going to drop it in a one-on-one, team versus team match. It's not going to be in a multi-team match. So I'm thinking the New Day is going to win here and retain their titles. I don't really know, though. I'd like to see Enzo and Cass win, because I really like them, and yeah. Also, it would be nice to see the Club win, but I really don't think that's going to happen. The Club may be the ones to take the titles off of the New Day if they can get a one-on-one match, tag team, just the Club versus the New Day just by themselves. But anyways, that's it for the first one there. Next match I have here written down, second of the 3 title matches, is going to be Titus O'Neil challenging for Rusev's United States title. This one seems pretty cut and dry. Rusev is retaining. They're not going to let him lose the title this quickly. Titus is fresh off of a suspension. I really don't think they're going to be giving him any titles anytime soon. Rusev is probably just going to fucking manhandle Titus, stick him in the fucking Accolade, and tap him the fuck out. All the while with Lana standing on the outside looking like a total babe. Alright. Up next. Now this is one of the ones that I really could not decide who I was going to predict. The Money in the Bank match. You've got 6 different guys, although that's one of the X factors right there. They originally said this match was going to be 7 people, and they never announced a 7th. And then they just kind of swept it under the rug. We're only going with 6 now. There's a number of possibilities with that alone. We could have somebody returning to be a surprise 7th entrant. There also could be, and then again, this is just me thinking things up because I'm weird like that. I thought that maybe they would have the world title match earlier in the card and maybe have the Money in the Bank match last or something. I don't know. But they could have the world title match earlier, and whoever lost the world title match would end up being the 7th participant in the Money in the Bank match, and then they would probably end up winning it. Also, a possible 7th participant in the Money in the Bank match could be a returning Brock Lesnar. Don't know why this sprang to mind, and I don't even think it's possible because from what I've heard, Brock is actually getting ready to compete at UFC 200. Yes, that was something that happened here recently, is word broke that Brock was going to be having a fight at UFC 200. He's actually contractually obligated. It was in his UFC contract that he would, apparently he didn't meet his required number of fights. And so I think this is the last one on his contract, so he has to appear. So, despite the fact that he's got a contract with the WWE, he has to appear because he's obligated contractually. But, and see, the whole thing that intrigues me about that is with Brock hardly ever appearing, you know, he would have the briefcase and he would be gone most of the time. So that's probably a bad idea. Don't even know why I thought that up, but it's an idea, and I suppose it's within the realm of possibility, although it's pretty stupid. Yeah, like, Brock needs the fucking Money in the Bank. That's the other point to it. And speaking of that point right there, fucking two guys in this match, Jericho and Del Rio, who have been champions before, world champions, WWE champions. Del Rio himself has already won the Money in the Bank once. Jericho shouldn't need it. And when you boil it right down, Sami Zayn has only been in the company or he's only been on the main roster for a few months. He hasn't been built up enough. He hasn't held any singles titles in the WWE, the main roster. Cesaro has been U.S. champion. I believe he's been Intercontinental champion. He may have even been tag team champion with Tyson Kidd. I'm not sure about that one. But I still don't think he's been built up enough. Del Rio is just way too boring, and he's not over at all right now as a heel or face or anything. Nobody wants any part of that guy right now. And Kevin Owens, while he has been U.S. champion, Intercontinental champion, he beat John Cena, you know. So there's things like that. I really don't think there's anyone that's really been built up enough to win the Money in the Bank aside from Ambrose. He's been U.S. champion, Intercontinental champion. He's had title shots before at the world title, you know, when Rollins was holding it. And somebody always screwed him over. So, yeah. Ambrose is my prediction. As stupid as it may sound, because I just know that they're not going to fucking do this. Once again, this is one of the ones that I really struggled with making a prediction, because I just could not... I really didn't think they are going to let Ambrose have the Money in the Bank. I really don't think they will. But it would make the most sense. So yeah. That's my prediction for the Money in the Bank, is Ambrose. I'm probably going to be wrong. Up next, we have the Good Enough for WrestleMania match, as what they're calling it. And I'm like, no, it's really not. John Cena versus AJ Styles. Once again, I struggled with this one. I really don't think they're going to have AJ beat Cena. But at the same time, this is a feud that's going to have to go on for a couple of months. And if Cena wins here, and if he wins here at the pay-per-view, feud's done. Cena beats him. Cena's Cena. I prove that I'm better than you. That's all it's going to be. You know? So, my prediction here is AJ is going to cheat his ass off to beat John Cena. And he will succeed. And this will keep the feud going, because Cena will come out on Raw the next night and say, okay, you beat me, but you cheated. So you really didn't beat me. You didn't beat me fairly. And since Styles is a heel, of course they'll have him doing that. That's what it boils down to. The feud is going to keep going for a while, and yeah. Up next, the Death Spot match, the Women's Tag Team match, although something tells me this may not be as high in the card as I think it's going to be. But they've had the women's title match be right before the world title match the last couple of pay-per-views. So I figure they'd probably do the same thing here. But it's Women's Champion Charlotte and Dana Brooke versus Natalya and Becky. This one I didn't even struggle with. Charlotte and Dana are having problems with each other, so I'm guessing Natalya and Becky are going to have an easy win here. And it's just going to pour more fuel on the fire of them trying to get Dana to turn on Charlotte. So, yeah. That's my prediction there. Becky and Natalya are going to win this one. Or at least that's my prediction. And then in the main event, Seth Rollins versus Roman Reigns, the defending champion, the WWE World Heavyweight Championship match. Again, I struggled on this one. And in the end, it came down to a couple of things. Number one, me predicting Ambrose to win the Money in the Bank. Him chasing after Roman wouldn't really be as interesting as Ambrose chasing after Rollins. So Rollins is my prediction. He'll cheat his ass off to win, but he'll win. And also, the other reason why I picked Rollins to win this is because I really don't think they ever actually wanted him to lose the title in the first place. He only had to vacate the title because his knee went to shit. So, my guess is this match was set up to put the title back on Rollins as quickly as possible. And Reigns will get a rematch at the next pay-per-view, which I think is supposed to be Battleground. And yeah, Reigns will go back to chasing the title because that makes for a much more interesting story, the babyface chasing the title held by the heel champion rather than the face champion being chased by the heel champion or the heel challenger. It doesn't, that's not really a good enough story. So yeah, Reigns will go back to chasing. They'll probably do some things to try and get Roman over. They might want to have him go for some mid-card titles. They should have done that in the first place. Nobody should just get launched straight to winning the world title. Okay? You have to win some mid-card titles first. Roman never held the US title. He never held the Intercontinental title. Fucking even Cena held the fucking US title first before becoming World Heavyweight Champion. So, they really should go back, pull the fucking choker on Reigns, and say, okay, we need to get you over more first, because the crowd really don't like you. So let's have you win some mid-card titles first. Have him go after the Intercontinental title maybe when The Miz decides to come back. And this will allow time for Ambrose to chase after Rollins. Ambrose with the Money in the Bank. Shit like that. And this could actually lead up to the triple threat between Ambrose, Rollins, and Reigns. I really don't think they're going to have the triple threat here. So even if Ambrose does win the Money in the Bank early in the night, I really don't think he's going to come out to cash in during the match between Rollins and Reigns. He'll probably wait until after the match, clock whoever wins with the briefcase, and cash in on him then. Or they could have Ambrose wait a couple of months. Again, this is all speculative and just really, I really don't think I'm right about half of these. Or at least the Money in the Bank match, the World Title match, and Cena and AJ Styles. Those are the three, like I said, that I struggled making predictions with. I'm really not super confident in any of these predictions. Those three. The rest of them I'm all pretty confident. The two in the kickoff for sure. Rusev defending the title for sure. Natalya and Becky for sure. The New Day retaining the tag titles I'm not super sure about. They could have Enzo and Cass win. They could have the club win, which would be interesting. But yeah, I'm rambling on and on here. As I said, Rollins is my prediction to win the world title. He'll beat Reigns. He'll cheat his ass off to do it, but he'll do it. And that will more than likely be the end of the pay-per-view. And then I also have some extra possible things that could happen. They've had the storyline going between the Golden Truth and BreezAngo. They may do something with those two teams. There might be a match. There might be a backstage segment. Who knows? A cash-in, of course, is also possible. Whoever wins the Money in the Bank could cash in during or even before or after the world title match. So there's always the possibility of a cash-in. Also, the debut of Finn Balor is also a possibility. I've been predicting that the last couple of pay-per-views in a row now. Backstage news says that his debut on the main roster is imminent, so it's going to happen sooner or later. Also, something I saw on NoDQ.com earlier, Connor of the Ascension has been cleared to wrestle following a 60-day suspension. Apparently, he had his second violation of the wellness policy and was suspended. And that's why the Ascension has been nowhere to be found for the last 2 months, basically. But he's been cleared, so they could possibly return, possibly to attack whoever wins the tag titles in the tag title match. That would be interesting, to try to get them back into the tag title hunt. Preferably returning them to their old NXT gimmick. I don't really like the gimmick they have since they've come up to the main roster. All this Illuminati imagery and shit like that. Go back to the old, it wasn't even NXT, it was FCW, when it was Conor O'Brien and Kenneth Cameron. Very gothic, dark. They're wearing these big, furry, fucking leather coats. They got these lights in their hands. It was really dark. They didn't talk. They just fucking growled at people. Just, you know. They didn't talk. They were just growling at motherfuckers. It was dark, brooding, menacing, and intimidating. That's what they should have done. We know Connor can do it. Don't know if Victor can do it, but whatever. Yeah. So there's the possibility of them. I already mentioned Brock possibly returning to be the 7th participant in the Money in the Bank match. Probably doubtful, because again, he's Brock Lesnar. Don't think he really needs the Money in the Bank to get a title shot. So that's probably not going to happen. Also, I mentioned here recently that Bray Wyatt has been cleared to return. So the Wyatts may return. And again, just like with the Ascension, possibly to attack the winners of the tag team title match, they could have Rowan. I'm not sure if Harper is cleared to wrestle yet. He got injured a while back. They could have Rowan and Strowman go after the tag titles. And Bray has already shown interest in the WWE World Heavyweight title. So he could maybe go after... And the Wyatts are supposedly a face now. So it would make sense for them to go after Rollins, being that he's the heel. So yeah. Those are all the possible things that could happen. As I said, those the Money in the Bank match, Cena and Styles, and Rollins and Reigns, I'm really not super sure about those predictions. But that's what I'm going with. If I had a dime for every time the WWE gave me exactly what I wanted with one of these pay-per-views, I would have 0 dimes! So anyways, those are my predictions for the Money in the Bank pay-per-view. Let me just cut through them real quick, just to anybody who maybe just wants to skip to the end of the video and see the predictions. In the kickoff, you've got Baron Corbin beating Dolph Ziggler, and Sheamus beating Apollo Crews, probably cheating his ass off to do it. On the pay-per-view proper, I have the New Day successfully retaining their tag titles against the Vaudevillains, the Club, and Enzo and Cass. Rusev retaining his U.S. title against Titus O'Neil. Dean Ambrose, winning the Money in the Bank ladder match. AJ Styles defeating John Cena. Natalya and Becky Lynch defeating Charlotte and Dana Brooks. And in the main event, Rollins defeating current champion Roman Reigns to become the new World Heavyweight Champion. Again, cheating his ass off to do it, probably. Same thing with AJ Styles. So those are my predictions. We'll see what happens. I'm really not sure. But I really don't think I'm getting what I want. Of course, all I really want is for Ambrose to win the Money in the Bank. I'd also like to see Styles beat Cena clean, but that won't fucking happen. I'd also like to see Enzo and Cass win the tag titles, and I'd like to see Dolph Ziggler beat Baron Corbin, just to snuff out this Baron Corbin guy, because I really don't think he's that great. I think he needs some more time in NXT. Vampire stole my lunch money. I saw that on Facebook earlier. One of the pages I follow is a wrestling page. For all of the pay-per-views, they like to post like a poster for the pay-per-view, but it shows old pictures of everybody who's participating in the pay-per-view, like their indie days pictures, or just really old pictures. And I saw the one for this pay-per-view, and people had added their own tags to the picture. And over Corbin's head, he's wearing like a hoodie. Somebody posted the caption, the vampire stole my lunch money. I just thought that was hilarious. Because that's what he looked like. He looked all emo with his hood on. All gothic, kind of. So it's like the vampire stole my lunch money. Anyways. So, as I said, that be my predictions for the Money in the Bank pay-per-view. June 19, 2016, from Paradise, or Las Vegas, Nevada's T-Mobile Arena. There you go. Thank you for watching. I've been the champ here, your predictions champion. Thank you for watching my predictions. And we will see you on Sunday for the pay-per-view review. We'll see what happens. So thank you for watching. Join us next time for the pay-per-view video, and we will see you then.